In this segment, we're going to continue to take a look at the emergence of modern America. In particular, what fueled the modern industrial economy. During this period, from the Civil War to World War I, the United States underwent a tremendous economic transformation that involved developing an industrial economy, an expansion of big business, the growth of large-scale agriculture, and the rise of national labor unions and industrial conflict. The technological change spurred growth of industry primarily in northern cities as well as some of the Midwestern cities. As we look at some of the inventions and innovations that occurred during this period of transformation, we want to take a look at the corporation. In a corporation, investors would buy stock in companies and then earn dividends when profits were made. The idea is that this would give a corporation capital, that is money to use, with which they could expand and continue to operate. The investors could only lose the amount of money that they would put into the company. That's what we mean by limited liability. Their liability, or what they were accountable for, was only as much as they put in. Great profits could be made, but they could only lose what they put into the pot. Another invention that we want to take a look at is the Bessemer steel process. This was a quicker and cheaper way to make steel. Railroads are going to be the largest user of steel by the end of the 19th century. However, steel is going to continue to be a primary resource for American industrialization, from the machines that were made to the factories and the skyscrapers. When we take a look at the light bulb and electricity, both of these are really developed by Thomas Edison. Electricity as a power source, as well as a light source for Americans, is going to change the way we work and change the way we play. Thomas Edison founded the very first electric company as a way to create the electricity and get it to the customers. Another important invention of the time was the telephone, invented by Alexander Graham Bell. This obviously is going to improve communication, but its importance goes further. This is also going to help women find jobs working as switchboard operators, a much better job to have than a factory worker. Another invention of the age is the airplane. Invented by the Wright brothers, their first flight took place at Kitty Hawk in 1904. The use of airplanes was going to grow considerably over the next 100 years. Think about it. Airplane invented 1904. Americans landed on the moon in 1969. Not long for America to grow in their innovation. Another important innovation was the assembly line manufactured. This innovation was really brought to the 20th century by Henry Ford as a way to make the automobile more cheaply. He is going to do this by increasing his production by moving the product along an electric conveyor belt. This is going to allow the product to move and the worker to stand still doing a simple job. Henry Ford would be considered an industrial leader of the time. But other important industrial leaders would include guys like Andrew Carnegie. He was an innovator and a creator and a builder in the steel industry. He was a true immigrant, a rags to riches story. He made his fortune by first reducing the cost of producing steel. Later in life, Carnegie became a very respected philanthropist, that is, believing that the wealthy should look back and give back to the community and help those. J.P. Morgan made his early fortunes in finance. Later, he joined the Steel Corporation. He began in the banking business, and later, once he was tired of that, he bought out Andrew Carnegie and created the United States Steel Corporation. Two other industrial leaders that we must recognize are Cornelius Vanderbilt. He made his fortune in railroads. He became a tycoon as he acquired vast amounts of railroad tracks and charged smaller companies a rate to use his tracks. Later on, he would buy out smaller companies, buy out more and more track, and he thus created a monopoly. John D. Rockefeller made his fortune in oil. He created the Standard Oil Company and increased his wealth through what we call vertical integration of resources, as well as advertising. Like Carnegie, he later in life became a philanthropist. When we analyze the reasons for this economic transformation, government policies helped out a great deal. They had a laissez-faire or hands-off attitude when it came to capitalism, and they even gave special considerations like land grants to railroad builders. The government seemed to support business and the growth of business. There was also an increasing labor supply from immigration, as well as those who are leaving the farms and moving back east to find jobs in the cities. And Americans' possession of great wealth, of our natural resources. We had the raw materials that we needed right here at home. We did not need to purchase them from other countries. And our vast resource of navigable or navigation rivers, where we could move those resources from where they're found to the factories, allowed us the ability to make a tremendous amount of money during this period of time. But during the Civil War, or from the period after the Civil War to World War I, the United States underwent an economic transformation. It's going to involve that developing industrial economy, the expansion of big business, the growth of large-scale agriculture, and the rise of national labor unions. However, it's also going to bring with it industrial conflict, which we'll take a look at in several more segments.